right, welcome once again to HeroQuest fans. So I was all set to talk about the errata, looks like errata, the errors in the new 2021 HeroQuest remake. But then everybody starts buzzing about Twitter. I don't care about Twitter. I'm not signed up for Twitter. But anyway, Twitter has a bunch of stuff about the Frozen Horror, the Barbarian Quest Pack that was released back in 1992 in the US. It was the last official quest pack released for HeroQuest through Milton Bradley Games Workshop back in the day, and they've been teasing for quite a while that they're going to re-release it. Now, most people still don't have access to the game. A lot of people that pledge still don't have their boxes. So it's like, give me the game first, and then I'll tell you if I want expansions for it, is probably what a lot of people are thinking. Nevertheless, I have my own misgivings about the Barbarian Quest pack. It's got a lot of errors in it. A lot of folks have commented it doesn't feel like it was play tested. And if you thought Joe Manganiello's quest pack was hard, you will be crushed, absolutely crushed and destroyed by the Barbarian Quest pack. A lot of us as kids, the only way we even heard of this Barbarian Quest pack was because I can't remember if it was Keller's Keep or Return of the Witch Lord, but one of them came with a flyer. And the flyer said, oh, you can order additional quest packs, and it had a little advertisement in there. And it showed a picture, and it mentioned, I think one of them showed a picture, and the other one just had text. And it said, you're fighting the Frozen Horror. And it's like, or I think it called it the Frozen Terror originally, as a Frozen Horror, some big monster in the frozen north. It was really generic. Anyway, but we could have gotten it cheap back then, and a lot of people are kicking themselves because it's rare now, and you can pay exorbitant prices for it on eBay, and people are trying to recreate it using other miniatures and everything. But if you look at it, the difficulty is just absolutely extreme. I mean, the first three quests are solo quests, so the barbarian is supposed to play by himself, and it's supposed to be for a brand new character, brand new player. But if you open a certain door, there's a Yeti that comes out, grabs you, does 2 body points of damage per turn, and there's nothing you can do. You can't escape because there's no one who can kill the Yeti to rescue you. So you just die. So it's like open this door and you don't kill the monster right away, you die. And the amount of body points, monster body points that you face in the last few quests, it's like over 100 body points. Like if you add up all the monster body points on the quest map, it's like over 100. Compare that to the game system quests where it's like 20s to 30s. I mean, the trial is like I think 37, which is extreme, which is why a lot of people got killed playing the trial and never progressed beyond that point. But it's just absurd. Now, in the Frozen Horror, the heroes after Quest 3 are allowed to pay gold to hire mercenaries. So they're these little guys that follow you around. So each hero can hire some of them. And they are pretty weak. They only have 2 body points. But there's a swordsman, so he's got a high attack, high defense. There's a crossbowman, so of course he's got ranged attack. There is a scout who can search for and disarm traps, just like a dwarf can. And and then the halberdier. So a halberd is like a poleaxe. So he has a diagonal attack. So you've got a diagonal attack, you've got a really strong guy, you've got a kind of weak but fast guy who can search for and disarm traps, and then the ranged guy. And they have certain abilities. So, in the game system, Sir Ragnar, the original game system, he couldn't fight. But these mercenaries, they move after the hero, and if they die, they die. But if you want to hire them again for the next quest, you got to pay again. You got to pay more gold. Now, EU players remember Wizards of Morcar, where you could hire men at arms, and it was pretty much the same idea. But those guys only had 1 body point, and you got a discount if they survived and you hired them again for the next quest. Barbarian Quest Pack, they're a little more expensive. But I mean, you could have a squad of them. You can hire a whole bunch of them. Now, one of the problems, okay, so you've got your 4 heroes and a huge squad of mercenaries to fight the monsters. I think the original Frozen Horror from 1992 Oh, and it also had an alternate barbarian who was female, and all the pieces were blue except for, let's see, yeah, they were all kind of like an icy blue color. But if you so you'd each hire mercenaries, and the problem was, so there's two problems with the mercenaries, and this is what Hasbro is going to have to deal with if they remake this series, which or this new expansion, which I think they are from all accounts, is so how do you keep track of which hero has what mercenary? Because you could have all of them on the board. I think there was only 6 of them. Is it 5 or 6? So European players had Wizards of Morcar, and Wizards of Morcar, the mercenaries were red, just like the heroes. Actually, they were a slightly different shade of red, but whatever. They were red. But so you've got a bunch of these mercenaries. Now, what I came up with, and I'm sure other people have done similar things, is I printed out these tokens that are like a little bit bigger than the base, and I put them underneath the base, and it has a little marker that indicates what hero it belongs to. So the wizard's got his token for his mercenaries, the barbarian, the elf, the dwarf, each for their own. Because you can also have bad guy mercenaries. So you can have evil crossbowmen and evil swordsmen and so forth. And they're all just gray in the Barbarian Quest pack. Now they were red in Wizards of Morcar. And there was Hero Quest Advanced Quest, which was just a version of the game system released only in Europe, which had just the base set, the 1990 European set, but then it also had these 12, I think it was 12, I think some people said 14, but I'm pretty sure it was 12. 12 of these red men-at-arms, which are exactly like the mercenaries that Barbarian Quest pack has, except those were gray. But in the Dark Company, they were all bad guys. So you'd run across these dark warriors, they called them. But anyway, those guys are floating around on eBay and they're kind of sought after. I have a couple of them myself. But the problem with the mercenaries, the original ones, it was just a body. And actually, I can show you. I've got it all boxed up. If you hold on, I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about, and you'll see the challenge that Hasbro is going to face with these new mercenaries. Because the new miniatures they've been showing us they're that rubberized hard plastic, and they're all pre-assembled and glued down. But these had some removable parts. Yes, I said that right. Removable parts. Hold on. Okay, sorry for the disorganized state of this all. Okay, so this is Keller's Keep, but these did not come with Keller's Keep. I just want to make that clear. I just happen to be storing them in that box. So this is what the excuse me. This is what the mercenaries look like. See that? So typical. I don't know if these are Bretonnian mercenaries, but the red ones were the ones that came with Wizards of Morcar, which was a European expansion, or they would come with the Hero Quest Advanced Quest. And see how they're a red color? They are a different, it's like a kind of a blood red, ketchup red, slightly different than some of the heroes. But these are just still on the sprues. But see this? You'd get these multiple sprues, so you get, there's the halberd, and you got crossbows, and that sword and shield is for the scout. He's got the lion shield. So if you're looking on Twitter and looking at these little teaser photos of silhouettes, that could be what that is. And somewhere in here are the swordsmen. They just have like a big two-handed sword. I'd call it a long sword, but it's not treated like a long sword. It's just treated like a big sword, like 4 attack dice in the Barbarian Quest pack. Now, the Barbarian Quest pack, these would be gray. These would not be red, they'd be gray. I think if they do release the Frozen Horror, they should make the figures blue, like the icy blue color, or even just different shades of blue, because that would be a missed opportunity. But again, it doesn't have quite the same nostalgia factor For a lot of people, the Barbarian Quest Pack and the Elf Quest Pack were just kind of wistful, things that you wish you could get, but you never got them. And if you had got them, you would have been crushed by the difficulty and probably swear off HeroQuest completely, or just throw the rules away and make up your own quests. There are also a lot of errors. Like I said, with the playtesting, just extreme difficulty, just kind of broken gameplay, unbalanced. There's artifacts that don't get used, so you've got a card and it just never features anywhere. You've got artifacts that are mentioned that don't have a card for them. You've got empty chests that are unmarked. It's always kind of a pet peeve. But here's something I want to show you about these mercenaries. So see that little hole there? Okay. The great thing about the original HeroQuest is you weren't expected to glue anything. But these are actually meant to be, see that little peg there? You're meant to be able to actually insert that into that little hole. Now, obviously, this is on a sprue, so it looks funny, but just imagine that top part not there. So he's got a sword, but then you could gently take it off, give him a crossbow. So the crossbow inserts like that. Obviously, it wouldn't be on the sprue. Oh, give him the sword and shield for the scout. And so they'd actually give you more weapons than they would give you like the generic body. And the idea was, okay, when Zargon is called upon to put a mercenary down, he would just, if he has the right weapon, he would put it on there and put the guy on the board. You fight him. Now, if you're hiring the mercenaries, you would have these cards. And so you're supposed to pay the gold, and it's like, okay, I got a crossbowman and a swordsman, or I got 2 halberdiers, for this quest. And so they would move after your hero and do the actions. And I think they can do certain things, like they can open doors, they can jump traps, but they don't search for anything except for the scout, who will search for and disarm traps. And I think if you die, you can either, if your hero dies, you can either, like say you're out of the game, or if you still have mercenaries who are still alive, you can just keep controlling them. I guess they can just keep your belongings for that, just for that quest. So there's a couple of things. But how are they going to handle the bolt-on weapons? Are they going to actually have like a peg where you put it in, or are they going to make a dedicated figure for each of these? So they would end up releasing more mercenary figures than came with the original system. Because the original Barbarian Quest Pack, you had 2 Yetis, 2 Polar War Bears. Those guys were ridiculous because they had 2 attacks and you're only supposed to be able to defend against it once. And of course, they have high body points. And they have 3 Ice Gremlins who will steal your gear and then run away. And they have 3 body points, so they're not weak like goblins. But they steal your stuff and run away. And yeah, in later quests, you can find like a room where all the stuff they stole is. It's a little vague. Is it like all the stuff for the entire game or just that quest? I guess Zargon gets to decide. There's the Frozen Horror himself, which is a monster that takes up almost 2 full squares. So he's a long monster. And he has, let's see, yeah, he has 12 chaos spells. He basically has 6 that are dedicated to ice, and then he has 6 from the game system. Like, he can pick any 6 to have. And it's a 10 quest pack, and the last 2 quests lead into each other. So quests 9 and 10. So the first 3 quests are solo quests. So we got 1, 2, and 3. But then 9 and 10, they lead right into each other. So there's no opportunity to go to the armory and buy equipment or visit the alchemist shop and buy potions. You don't heal your body and mind points back. You don't get to restore your spells. You just go from one right into the other. So it's a big gauntlet. It's a big meat grinder. So after looking at the 2021 remake overall, from what I've seen and for what others have written, it looks like they pretty much made almost no changes at all, which is fine by me, because if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? But the Barbarian Quest Pack is pretty broken, I think. So it's going to be controversial. Either they're going to have to rewrite a lot of stuff and play test it and fix a lot of things, which are not necessarily going to comport to the changes and fixes that players had in mind over these years, because people have played it. They made their own corrections and things. or they're just going to release it as is, and they're going to get a ton of complaints of people saying this is ridiculous, this is broken, this is too hard, it's unbalanced, this doesn't make any sense. Kids are going to play it and hate HeroQuest after that. But I don't know so. Are they going to release it warts and all, or are they going to make corrections? Are they going to make changes? So one of the things is let's see, it's the Armband of Ice artifact. It's got a cool card and everything, but you never find it in any of the 10 quests. Now there's a lot of empty chests, empty treasure chests. They're just completely unmarked. It doesn't even say the chest is empty. It's just completely unmarked. So according to the rules, you just draw a treasure card. It's just an ordinary dead piece of furniture. It means nothing. But what a lot of people have done is take one of those empty chests and say, okay, fine, that's the one that has the Armband of Ice in it. Because there's all these treasure chests. So you'll go into a room and there'll be all these powerful monsters clustered around a treasure chest and nothing in it. It's more a problem with the Elf Quest pack. The Elf Quest pack had several like this. The Barbarian Quest pack has a few. Now, the Barbarian Quest pack uses spell scrolls and it uses random draws. So there's parts where you're supposed to draw a random spell scroll, and there's a lot of stuff that's devoted to ice and cold. So there's tiles that you step on and you take damage from being in the cold. But if you have these certain artifacts like the Ring of Warmth or the Armband of Ice, if you could get it, they protect you from the ice, or they heal the damage from the ice. And the spell scrolls are almost, I mean, a lot of them are similar to the chaos, or in this case, they'd be dread spells that are devoted to ice. So it's like the heroes can use those, but it's not a separate spell class that the elf or the wizard could use. It's just, anybody finds the spell scroll, and then, they get to use skate, where they move fast through ice, or the snowshoes of speed. Snowshoes of speed, they move fast through ice. The skate, it's like you can slip past monsters, so it's like Veil of Mist. There's chill, which does damage to another target. There's warmth, which is like healing. I'm forgetting some of them, but yeah, you can visit Ye Olde Inn and you can see like a full rundown of all of them if you want, and other places too. So yeah, and then there's an alternate barbarian, a female barbarian. I think she looks really cool. She does not look exactly like the male barbarian, except female. She actually has like a big shield that she's holding up, and she's got a big sword. Totally different action pose to the male barbarian from the game system. And she is an icy blue color, like all the other figures. Because, of course, they would use the same sprue for everything. And yeah, all of the figures are kind of a light pastel icy blue color, except for the mercenaries. The mercenaries are gray. So now in the Elf Quest pack, everybody was the icy blue color, except for the ogres, which were kind of a grayish blue. But the Elf Quest pack has not been discussed at all. It's only been the Barbarian Quest pack. I'd say between the two, the Barbarian Quest pack is the harder one. It has fewer errors, but just more of a lack of balance. I want to say there's another place in one, I think it's either Quest 2 or Quest 3, where there's a treasure chest, and then there's a whole bunch of spear traps that form like a barricade around it, which makes absolutely no sense, because the way the mechanic, the treasure searching mechanic works in the game, in the North American rules, which is what this is and has always been, is that when you search for traps, okay, you find every single one of those traps, right? But let's say you don't even do that. You search for treasure. If you search for treasure, you just find the treasure, because the treasure chest itself doesn't have a trap on it, okay? If you want to trap the chest, you make the furniture trap, because there's no mechanic that says that you have to walk right up to the treasure chest and then search to open it up. So it's an oversight there. So it's as if the people making the maps didn't really understand the game in a couple of places, and you'll see that quite clearly as you play. So yeah, it's a bit of a problem. And several people have commented that the solo quests, yes, they give you some gear. I mean, you can find all kinds of great weapons and things. So by the end of those 3 quests, you'll be fully equipped. You'll have a longsword, a battle axe, a helmet, I think possibly a shield as well. But the problem is you're probably going to die in at least 2 of those quests, just because the sheer number of monsters and traps and things. especially for a beginner player. Imagine someone who's never played HeroQuest before, and you're throwing them in by themselves to something that's as hard as the trial, except with traps. Just imagine that. And imagine that behind one door there's a monster that can basically kill you instantly if you don't wipe him out with a lucky roll right away, or just run and don't even try to fight him. Yeah, it's just a bit ridiculous. So several people have suggested a fix for that. One is to get rid of the Yeti, like an extra 37 quest, Barbarian quest pack, rumors, official rumors, and then we'll start up with the 3, Errata. 2, 1, and we're live. Welcome once again to HeroQuest fans here on Twitch. Thank you for tuning in to our other videos. So I was going to talk about, and I'm going to repeat myself a little bit here. I was going to talk about this stuff that they're posting on social media now, Hasbro, about the Barbarian Quest Pack, the Frozen Horror, which was a North American release from 1992, being remade, and they're posting these teaser pictures. Well, the community has kind of a love-hate relationship with the Barbarian Quest Pack because, yes, it has a whole bunch of new miniatures, and if that's all you care about, I'm sure you'll love it. If all you're trying to do is sell it on eBay, you're going to love it. But it has a lot of problems. Now, I'm going to start with the first issue because they showed a picture of some silhouetted miniatures, which I'm fairly certain are meant to be mercenaries. This is what a mercenary looks like, okay? Now, this is a red one. The originals would not have been red for the Barbarian Quest Pack. They were actually gray. The red ones were included in the European releases, okay? So there were 2 European releases that featured these mercenaries. And they have 4 choices of weapon. So they've got a crossbow, as you can see on these sprues. There's a crossbow, there's a sword and shield, so crossbowman, scout, and there's an halberd, so like that poleaxe weapon, and there is a sword, so this 2-handed sword, okay? And these weapons actually bolt on. They're meant to be removable. Because when you go to hire a mercenary between quests, if you're a hero, you have a stock of them. And it's like, okay, well, you have more weapons than you have bodies. So what are they going to do? Are they going to have a bolt-on weapon, or are they going to make enough fully formed, fully glued together miniatures to cover all those different combinations? Because I think there was only 5 or 6 in the original package. So there's that. Now the red ones, I hope they don't make them red, because the red ones were included in the European Wizards of Morcar expansion, okay, where you fight these 4 wizards, and there's mercenaries you could hire. They call them men-at-arms in that one. And the other place that the red mercenaries appeared is HeroQuest Advanced Quest, which was European-only release that was the game system plus a poster that folded out, and it was like 4 boards worth of adventure. Like you could cross over and you would clear the board off, set it up again for another adventure, and it was all connected, so you wouldn't heal in between. And there were these bad guy Britannian mercenaries, soldiers, whatever. They would call them Dark Warriors, and they were really powerful and hard to kill, but they were bad guys. But they had these weapon combinations, and there was 12 of them, I believe, and I think there was 14 weapons. So, but that was a European release, and most people don't have the Advanced Quest, not to be confused with Advanced Hero Quest, which is a totally different game from Games Workshop. But anyway, I was lucky enough to find these on eBay, still in the sprues. But yeah, the Barbarian Quest Pack from 1992 had 5 or 6 of these, and they were gray. So anyway, there's that, and they move after the hero that hires them. But here's another problem. And I came up with a solution myself. I'm sure others have probably thought of this. Why don't you make tokens for each hero that you can use to mark? Like you'd set the token down and you'd show like which hero they belong to. In fact, I'll just show you what I made, okay? So this is a homebrew thing. Just a moment. Let me go get that. Okay, sorry about the noise there. Welcome back. So I made these. These are not official. These are homebrew. So just a little cardboard chit or tile, whatever you want to call it, coin. the idea would be, okay, so the barbarian hires one. Okay, so it's red. Or I guess you could write like barbarian on the edge or something. Put some symbol to represent him. And that would be the barbarian's mercenary. But then you've got this other one next to him. Well, who does that belong to? Oh, it's the wizard. So the wizard would have his mercenary. So that way you could keep track. Because otherwise you're going to have a bunch of these guys on the board, and you know who belongs to who, and if there's bad guy mercenaries, because there are bad guy mercenaries in the Frozen horror, how can you tell them apart, you know? So dwarf, and there should be elf. So just really simple. I just differentiated them by color, and so you could tell who's who. So anyway, so they'll have to come up with some type of solution there, otherwise they're going to have the same issue. Now, I have a feeling that, judging by how they've done with the 2021 remake, Hasbro has handled that. They just ported everything over, including the errors. So there's stuff that just doesn't make sense anymore with the new system. I mean, yeah, the fixes are pretty simple. You can kind of wing it. But if they just release it as is, people are going to complain. Well, there's going to be more complaints now because most people never played the Barbarian Quest Pack. I mean, you think very few people played Keller's Keep and Return of the Witch Lord. Even fewer people had the Barbarian or Elf Quest Pack. So people are going to be complaining, like, what are all these issues? And there's no easy answers, because what did the original designers intend? Who knows? You know? So whatever solution you come up with, it may not be the one that the homebrew fans came up with. So they may not be happy with your particular issue. So you've got an artifact like the Armband of Ice that is, you got a nice card for it, but it's not used in any of the quests. You never find it. And you've got all these unmarked treasure chests. So it doesn't just say in the book, the chest is empty. It's just nothing. So I guess you just draw a treasure card. So why do you have all these treasure chests with nothing in them, and then you've got an artifact you never even find? So why don't you just, a lot of us have decided, okay, just pick one of those empty chests and put it in there. You know, it's heavily armed. Just throw it in. And sorry, I'm just getting a message here. Okay. Yeah, so I just want to make it clear that these videos are not endorsed or sponsored in any way by Hasbro, Milton Bradley, Avalon Hill, in any way. Okay. And even though I mention Yield in a lot, I mean, I don't get paid anything. I don't work for them. I'm just a member, just a fan. So anyway, yeah, I paid for this. This was not free. I didn't get this as a review copy. No, I paid for it with my own money, and I've opened it up, so I'm not returning it. Anyway, just want to make that clear, because some people get free copies of the game, and you know, maybe they're a shill or whatever. But yeah, there's no sponsorship here. So anyway, I want to talk about the errata or errata. I never say it out loud, but you know, you come out with a book or a manual and you've got a list of problems, list of mistakes. So Avalon Hill on Twitter is claiming that they're open to being sent a direct message about any issues that you find. Since I don't use Twitter, I'm not on there. I think it's a waste of time. I think it's kind of a, you know what, I'm just not going to get into it. But yeah, I don't have time for that kind of stuff. If you do, you know, more power to you. But why don't you send them a message? I want you to let them know what you think. Go ahead and convey this information if you want. I think it'd be helpful. So if they're going to make corrections before this thing goes to retail, because if they don't send it to retail, they're making a big mistake. They're going to miss out on a lot of money. A lot of HeroQuest fans are going to be really sad. And all you're doing is you're just pushing this into the scalpers market, because how many people are going to sell this or just break it up into pieces and sell it, you know? So I don't want to sound cynical or anything, but it could go wrong pretty easily as a franchise. They're off to such a good start. Why would they want to do that? So there's a lot of issues here that I just want to mention. So a couple of things. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can complain about if you want to. There's a lot of vague little spots in the HeroQuest rules, and we did a nice read through of this. But most of us have come up with their own interpretations, and that's just how it is. So I'm not going to get into that too much. There is something here about how when you're in a pit trap, a hero can search for treasure. as if it's a secret room all to itself, which is cool. You know, search for treasure inside a pit trap, so you get one more card draw. But it also says you can search for secret doors inside the pit. There's never an opportunity where that would make any sense to do, so it'd just be a wasted action. So why do they even mention it? The other thing is they tell the hero that the hero who's playing as the wizard that it would be wise to save his gold because there's so little for him to buy. But why would it be wise for him to save his gold? Well, the reason that that sentence seems so weird is because originally the 1990 book in the North American version said that the wizard should expect that there'll be powerful magical items available for purchase in future quest packs, future expansions. Those expansions never came out. So they just deleted the sentence, so now it doesn't really make sense. I mean, the wizard should just give his gold to the other heroes, I guess, so they can buy stuff. And once they've bought everything they want, I guess all he's doing is he's buying potions at this point in these quests. So that was kind of a little oddity there. But again, since they're just copying what's come before, I guess it makes a certain amount of sense. They're just porting that over. So let's look at the issues. So here I'm referring to the Game System Quest book here. Let me switch cameras back. Okay, so this is the Game System Quest book, as you can see. So the original 14 quests and the remake. I don't mind the word substitutions. I mean, I understand they had to do that for Games Workshop. But what are some of the issues? So I'm going to flip through and find some of the errors here. Okay, so quest 3, spoilers. Spoilerific spoilers. They didn't change any of the quests, so if you knew this back in 1990, it's still the same. Okay, it says, use the orc figure with the large sword to represent Ulag. Okay, what are they talking about? Well, in the original version of HeroQuest, there was a single orc who had a notched falchion or scimitar type sword. So you would use him as the boss character. In this one, there's no single unique orc. There's 2 of every design of orc. Yes, it is. Hi, Zappa Slave. Yes, we're looking at the new game here, and we're pointing out errors in it. So we're talking about stuff that they should correct for. Happy birthday. So Zappa Slave got it for his birthday. Okay, so quest 3, it says use the orc with a large sword. Well, there is an orc with a large sword, but there's actually 2 of them. So you just got to make sure you're not confused there. But this was back when there was a unique orc with a unique weapon. Yeah, happy belated birthday in that case. Okay, so other issues. Oh yeah, and the Barbarian Quest pack is coming out, but I don't know what they're going to do about all the errors and issues in it. I kind of have a feeling they're just going to release it straight up and then let the community figure it out, because that's kind of what they did with this one. Okay, so what are the other errors? So I'm just going to switch over. So if I miss your chat, I apologize, but I'm just going to look at the list. This was put together by, again, one of these helpful people on Ye Olde Inn forums, Hispa Zargon. Has real attention to detail. Okay, so the first thing, and this, some of the errors that we see, oh yeah, here's another easy one. So this was an error that was not in the European version of HeroQuest from 1989 or the 1990 second edition from the European Union. That's just kind of what it is. You see it? Okay, Zappa Slave, are you there? Sorry about that, folks. This seems to happen during the day, so it's best to stream at night, I guess. I don't know. I'm not on a shared internet connection or anything here, but strictly a low-budget setup. Yeah, so Legacy of the Orc Warlord Quest 3 does have those 2 issues. You've got a pit trap next to the empty chest, which shouldn't be the case. And they make a reference to the orc with a large sword to represent Ulag, which there is no unique orc. I mean, there is an orc with a sword, but you just have to make sure you don't confuse him with the other orcs that are in the game. Actually, he's the only orc in the room, so I guess it could be all right. Zappa Slave, can you hear us? Okay, good, good. Just making sure. All right, so we're discussing errors in the Avalon Hill 2021 remake release. I'm going to close some of these windows so that I can free up some system resources if that's the issue. Okay, so the other issues that Hispazargon and several other people on Yielden have found. Okay, so in all 5 released quest books, the Alchemist Bench symbol corresponds to a symmetrical geometry of the related furniture miniature included in the game system box. So it's basically backwards. It's minor, but just a little typographical thing that they could fix. So let me see if I can see what he's talking about here. Let me just find an example. The Alchemist Bench. They probably just need to flip the image around in Photoshop or whatever it is they're using. So there's the Alchemist Bench. Oh, I see what he means. Yeah. So very minor. So see how the bottles are on this side and the scales are on the other? It's actually the opposite. It's like the mirror image. So you could never get your miniature to look like that. So they needed to just flip the icon around on all of the quests. Just a minor thing. Doesn't change the gameplay at all. Game system quest book, page 9. Oh yeah, that's the one I already talked about. So that's this thing here, page 9. Chest shown in a small room with a pit trap next to it has no dedicated description in the map. Error inherited from the 1990 American version. Okay. Prophecy of Telor, page 6. Treasure chest shown in a room at the right-hand side of the map has no dedicated description in page 7. I think in this case, the chest should be considered empty. So again, if you have an empty treasure chest, it's either going to say empty in the quest notes, or if there's nothing at all, you're supposed to just draw a card. That's how it would play out, because each hero can search a room once, right? So if you say it's empty, the first person would have an empty chest, and then the next 3 people would draw cards. But if there's no description, then you'd have 4 card draws for that room, in theory, right? So I'm going to have to get my Mythic Tier box out again. I put everything away because I don't really have the space to kind of pile everything up, so just have to get it out again here. So Mythic Tier, Prophecy of Telor. Okay, so Prophecy of Telor. Okay, we've got 6, 17, 22, and 28. Wow, there's a lot of them. The unique orc. Yeah, I repeated myself a little bit, Zappa Slave, because I'm not sure if I'm going to edit the videos together or just kind of swap them out, because I always post everything to YouTube after this. Okay. All right, so Prophecy of Telor. This is the Stephen Baker quest book. I think this is the best of the 3 that they released, my personal opinion. It looks like the most care went into it, has the most lore. It seems to stick closest to the original feel and style of the game, which you'd expect, because it's Stephen Baker. He was the guy who invented HeroQuest. I mean, he didn't do it all by himself, but he's the guy. Came up with the idea, and a lot of he laid the foundations for it all. Okay, page 6. Oh, page 6 is the map. Okay, spoilers. A lone chest in the upper right side. No description on page 7. Oh yeah, so there's a chest right there. It's the same kind of error. Why would you walk up to the chest? There's no game mechanic that says you have to do that. You want to put the trap on the chest. Come on. I mean, Stephen Baker knows what he's doing, right? But I mean, if he was still thinking about the European version of the rules, maybe he was imagining that you'd walk up to it and search it. But yeah. Just put the trap on the furniture and there's no description. So what's meant to be there? I don't know. Let's see, A, B, C, D. I guess you can put whatever you want in there, I suppose, or just make it be empty. But yeah, okay, so that's an issue. Prophecy of Telor, page 17. Okay, again, spoilers. So the ruined temple of Gilgareth. Quest 6, the warning text. Following this quest, the heroes may visit the armory and the alchemist shop. At the end of the page is missing. Yeah, because in this quest book, there's little parts that tell the heroes to go to the... Oh yeah, like here's an example. Following this quest, the heroes may visit the armory and the alchemist shop. So that's from page 27. The text is missing, so I think the warning should be there in this case, since the box text to page 18 assumes that the heroes have already purchased things from the armory. However, nobody has told them they can do it, as clearly indicated in other quests of the same book. So he probably meant, he probably meant that you could visit the armory and the alchemist shop after this quest, quest 6. Prophecy of Telor, page 22. Letter A, spoilers again, letter A symbol for note A of page 23 is not shown on the map. A. Oh, he's right. Yep. I see B, C, D, E, F, G. There's another E, but where's A? A says, okay, blah, blah, blah. It mentions a tomb. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. So this is an easy fix. So letter A mentions a tomb. The tomb is in the center room. So there should be an A right there. So this is quest 8, Prophecy of Telor. There should be an A in this room somewhere. Okay. Okay, that's an easy fix. Good eye, guys. All right. Sorry, Zappa Slave. I'm just trying to go through these other errors here. Okay, so the next one, page 28, Prophecy of Telor. Talking about errors or omissions, or... So this is quest 11, Melor Unleashed. Again, spoilers. So 28 would actually be the quest map itself. Letter F symbol for note F of page 29 is not shown on the map. And then Lesto Dante, also on the forum, suggested letter F should have not existed since its text is just a continuation of note E. Okay, so E. Yeah, there's no note F. It just says when the first hero searches for treasure, read the following. Yeah, so E. Yeah, so E and F really should be combined. So get rid of F, and then G would just be F. Spoilers. So replace that, put an F there, and there's no F on the map. And then down here, get rid of this, just erase it, and then put that to F. That'd be the fix. Just a small typo. Okay, so those are those errors. Now, Spirit Queen's Torment, this is the Teos Abadia Mythic Tier quest book. So the issues with this one, this is quite a few as well. Okay, page 6. Page 6, that's quest 1, Ruins of Wyvern Keep, ground floor. So again, spoilers. Squares of non-used upper corridors in the map should have been colored in Shadow's dark gray. So the dark gray, that represents solid rock. Oh yeah, this is an obvious one. This is solid rock, right? You can't pass through it. See this passage here? It's just completely empty. This should, obviously they were coloring it gray and then they forgot to color that in. That's all that is. So it doesn't affect gameplay, but I mean, I guess you could pass through rock and just be trapped in there for no reason. Okay. Okay, Spirit Queen's Torment, page 8. So that's the next quest. Quest 2, the Brigands Barracks. Squares of all non-used rooms in the map should have been colored in shadows dark gray. Oh, yeah. Sloppy error right here. Sloppy error. See these empty rooms? There's no way to get in there. This should all be colored dark gray to indicate solid rock. Dark gray, dark gray, dark gray, dark gray, dark gray, dark gray for that one. Dark gray, dark gray, dark gray. And when Zargon's setting up the map, spoilers obviously, it makes it easier for him to know which rooms to fill in if it's just grayed out. So, I mean, I guess you could take a pencil. I mean, this is glossy paper, so you can't really fix it yourself very easily, but it doesn't affect gameplay, but it just makes it easier to set up if you print it correctly. Okay, page 10, Spirit Queen's Torment. This is quest 3, Nelath's Tomb. Again, spoilers. Oh yeah, really obvious sloppy error here. See this part, this corridor should be filled in with dark gray because it's solid rock. There's no way to go there. Excuse me. So it doesn't affect gameplay, but it's just makes it easier for Zargon to set things up if he knows what's solid rock and what isn't. And a similar issue, so whoever edited these had probably the same problem. I mean, they were on time crunch, but still, it's a professional product. People paid money for it. Come on. Let's see. Page 18, squares and non-used left and upper quarters of the map should be colored in shadows dark gray. Yep. Once again, so the Drowned Temple, quest 7, that should be filled in with dark gray, indicating solid rock. Doesn't affect gameplay. That should obviously be filled in with dark gray. Page 19, spoilers. Okay, what else? So actually this isn't too bad. I mean, it's sloppy. It makes it harder to set the map up, but it's not insurmountable. And the players will just be like, gee, why is Zargon taking so long? The Sage's Exile, quest 9, spoilers, page 23. That should obviously be shadows dark gray, so solid rock, because you can't go there. There's just nothing there. And then page 30. Sorry if this is boring, but I mean, they asked for the feedback. So page 30, 31, non-used squares of upper right corner room in the map should have been colored in shadows dark gray. Let's see. Oh, very sloppy. Look at this room. Why is it solid rock, but then there's this part not filled in? That should just be completely filled in with dark gray there. That's it. Just very minor. Okay, that's not too bad. Okay, so that concludes that one there. So then Joe Manganiello's quest book, The Crypt of Perpetual Darkness. Again, thanks to Hispazargon and others for pointing these out, because he's kind of compiled them. Okay, so Crypt of Perpetual Darkness, page 10. Sorry, I'm on a roll here. Let me just check the stream and see if there's any questions. Oh, yeah. Yeah, thanks. Thanks to our patient audience there. Appreciate it. Okay. So again, spoilers for this quest. We are looking at the errors if you're joining us late. Page 10, the map shows at the mine's entrance the cliff corridor tile from the Keller's Keep expansion. Oh yeah, because these new quests use some of the same components as Keller's Keep and Return of the Witch Lord, which were included in the Mythic tier in the remake from 2021. So the cliff corridor, okay, spoilers. So the Marsh of Sorrows, quest 3, page 11 and 10 and 11. This thing. That's a specific tile that has a specific function, but it looks like the notes on page 11 don't indicate anything special about it. So I think the use of this tile should be considered just for aesthetical or illustrative purposes, but saying nothing about it in the quest notes could make the use of this tile confusing. So it's just for decoration. So I'm not sure if he meant to do anything special with that, because in Keller's Keep it does have a different function. I kind of forgot what that was. I'd have to look it up again, but I'm not going to look at it just now. Okay, next issue, Crypt of Perpetual Darkness, page 25. Okay, so that spoilers, this is quest 10, and this is the one that I think when I was doing my mini review, I commented, this is an absurdly hard compared to the others quest. So major spoilers here, major spoilers, you've been warned. Quest 10, the Crypt of Perpetual Darkness. What is the issue with this one? Okay, in Magical Darkness in Venom's Lair rules description, the correct text should have been -1 the second time they attack, instead of -2 the second time they attack. And then Hispazargon's comment was, I think heroes who cannot see in Magical Darkness should have -1 attack dice the second time they attack, instead of -2, since otherwise the text has no sense as it is written. If first and second times dice reduction had between -2, it should have been explained in a single sentence, not two. Additionally, I guess that heroes' eyes adapting to the darkness should be gradual, so an intermediate reduction of only one die instead of two may have made more sense. He's not a native English speaker, I don't think so. He's doing the best he can. So let me just see what he's talking about here, because this is the first time I've looked at it. 25. Okay. Any hero who cannot see in Magical Darkness, this is as written, has -2 combat dice the first time they attack, -2 the second time they attack, and then they may attack as normal. So -2, -2, and then normal. I mean, maybe he wanted it that way. Why not just say, yeah, -2 the first two times they attack, and then the third time it's normal? But he's saying, well, what if it just gradually lessens? So -2, the -1, and then back to normal. Monsters here do not suffer this effect. Okay. And then he says, if you've detected more, don't hesitate to report it here. That's on the errata thread. HeroQuest 2021 Remake, errata compilation. Errata. I don't know how to say it correctly. Okay, let's see if there's some other ones. Okay, so back to Prophecy of Telor. Stephen Baker's quest book. Spoilers once again. Quest number 4. The Tower of Turek Tor. It's page 13, actually. Note C. Note C. Well, the note indicates the fireplace C is seemingly meant to be the secret door. But I'm not sure why it would be a secret. Oh, I see. Okay, so spoilers here. So page 13, quest 4. So see how you go into room C like that? How do you get into room D? There's no way into this room. So probably what he meant to do is either put a secret door tile right here, or in some cases, just make a note down at C saying that when you search for secret doors, the fireplace slides aside and you can go in to that room. So then you'd put a secret door tile there. So he probably meant to do that and just omitted it. Okay, quest 8, Prophecy of Telor. Quest 8. So that's up to the midpoint. I do like Prophecy of Telor. There's a lot of storyline stuff. It kind of reminds me of the Dark Company, if you're familiar with that. Just lots of detail, lots of storytelling and puzzles and things. Okay, note A is missing on the map. Oh yeah, we already talked about that. So there should be an A in the center room. Sorry, already covered that one. Quest 11, already covered that one. Okay, there's a slight oddity here in the rule book for the game system here, the rule book. So in the original version of, so page 14, okay, see this diagram here? Just double check the stream. Okay, see that diagram? There should, in the original version, see this is an exact copy of the North American one. There should be a dotted line going from the elf to that orc on the upper right, indicating that it's a blocked line of sight, indicating she can't target him for a spell or a missile attack. They just erased it completely. I don't know why they did, but I mean, basically what they're telling you is she can hit this orc here, but not that guy. And she can't hit this guy because the wizard's in the way. She can hit that guy. She can hit that guy through the open door. That guy there, even though he's on the edge, this guy's too far away. And this is a closed door, so he can't be hit. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just a very minor thing. And let's see what else. Might cause a little bit of confusion because a lot of players are questioning the difference between what is visible. From what I understand reading this, visible just means a figure is in the same room or corridor with you. So if you've got a hero and a monster in the same room, they're visible to each other. But see, like when you say you can see something in order to shoot at it with your crossbow, throw a dagger at it, cast a spell on it, you need to have what's called line of sight. And line of sight indicates those arrows, those rays pointing from the character, the unblocked line of sight. Because normally, I mean, you're adjacent to somebody, you just attack them or whatever, cast a spell on them. But when it's ranged, you got to have that unobstructed line of sight for it to count. In the European version, it was different. But in the American version, the North American version, you had to keep track of that. Okay, so scrolling down here through the list. Yeah, there was a reminder. If there's no special treasure called out to Zargon in the quest book, you as a hero must draw a random card from the treasure card deck and read it aloud. That's not an error, that's just a clarification. Okay, so it says, in Return of the Witch Lord in Quest 10, the starting stair room is missing a door. One door is present, but a second door should also be there. This error was apparently present in the first printing of this quest pack, but was later corrected in subsequent printings of Return of the Witch Lord. So that's Nlinendal is reporting that issue. So let me see what he or she is talking about. Sorry, I'm not sure. New forum member. Okay, so here's Return of the Witch Lord in the remake version. Cool artwork. But there is an issue. Quest 10. Because there's the book. Spoilers. These quest books really haven't changed other than these possible errors and some word substitutions they did for copyright reasons. So the starting room, there should be 2 doors. Okay, so this is page 11. So I see the secret door, but where's the starting door? So I'm just going to consult a copy of what the original would have looked like, just to see the North American version, that is, because there were differences between the European original and the North American version. So the games, all the HeroQuest stuff originally came out in Europe. So it was 1989 was the first edition, 1990 was the second edition, 89 was the same year that Return of the Witch Lord and Keller's Keep came out. And in 1990, the North American version of the game system came out with the original 14 quests. And then 1991, the North American version of Keller's Keep and Return of the Witch Lord came out. Sorry, just dropping some lore on you while I'm looking it up. Okay. Wait a minute, why am I looking at Quest 2? I apologize, folks. Not Quest 2. There's nothing wrong with Quest 2. We're looking at Quest 10, excuse me. Okay, yeah, Quest 10 is the Court of the Witch Lord. The original was fine. 10 skulls, there's actually 12. And let's see, there's 9 human skulls, and then I think there's 3 monster skulls or rat skulls or whatever they're supposed to be, non-human skulls. Okay, so these are the cards that came with the game system here. And this is referring to one of the equipment cards because there's no more armory, it's all equipment now. And it's specifically dealing with the chainmail. Let's It's not a big deal. It doesn't affect gameplay, but it's just kind of a weird little thing, little oddity. I mean, I like the new artwork. I think it's pretty good. It's not identical to the original, but it does the job. It looks pretty good. Okay, did I grab the right deck? So I've got spells of all kinds. Oh, here we go. Equipment. Okay, set the spells down there. So in the equipment deck, so you got, oh yeah, chainmail. Okay, so look at that illustration of chainmail. It says armor. This light metal armor gives you 1 extra defend die, may be combined with the helmet and or shield, may not be worn by the wizard. Well, guess who that's supposed to be in that illustration? That's the wizard. Whoops. He's got a staff. He's got what appear to be bracers, which can't be combined with body armor. So there's 2 errors in one. If you look at the European version of this artwork upon which this was based, it's the same picture except he's not wearing the bracer. Now, why was the wizard wearing chainmail in the first place? I don't know, but it is a different picture. So whatever. If you just go with the description and ignore the artwork issue, it's not a big deal. Just an oddity. Okay, what's next here? Cards. Okay, so Mythic Tier people know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we take out the cards. Let's see what we got here. Artifacts. Yeah, because they're artifacts. So we got that, 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 that. Spell scrolls. Okay. So the spell scroll is identical to a magic spell, except that any hero can hold on to it like an object and use it once, and it's like casting a spell. So he could be the barbarian, the dwarf, doesn't matter. Heal body, pass the rock, ball of flame, courage. Okay, look at courage. See the difference? The next time that hero attacks, he may roll 2 extra combat dice. The spell is broken the moment that hero can no longer see a monster. Can no longer see a monster. Monster is no longer in the hero's line of sight. Now, I think what they meant to do is they clarified this one, but they should have clarified that one too, because it's the same spell. It's meant to be the same. So I would go with this. It should be the same as this. Because otherwise you're going to be like, does this mean a monster in the same room with me gets hit, so it's stronger than the spell? No, it's just meant to be a free way to use it. So anyway, that's just something. And since this artifact, excuse me, is in both Return of the Witch Lord and Keller's Keep, they probably made the same error twice. I'd almost bet money on it. Almost. So let me just put that away, and we'll look at that. Yeah. Kind of a big mess here. Let's dig up Keller's Keep. Keller's Keep. Let's talk about that one. So we've got all our stuff in there. Take out these cards. Equipment. Magical Throwing Dagger. Heal Body. Tempest. Ball of Flame. Courage. Can no longer see a monster. Okay, so same issue there. Now this is the original wording on the card. No longer see a monster, but clearly they wanted to clarify and they just forgot to copy and paste it into the 2 spell scroll cards. So we'll just kind of throw that aside. I was trying to kind of keep it organized, but these threads come up and then I gotta dig them all out again. deal with them. There is another thing I wanted to show you in the game system as far as an oddity or possible mistake. Actually, I'm sure it was a mistake. Positive it was a mistake. Just check the stream real quick here. All right, everything's still good with our sound and everything. Just got a pop-up message from Shadzar there. Not sure what he's talking about, but might be something I can talk about in the stream. Okay, so we're back to the equipment deck for the game system in the remake. So let's look at our equipment here. Panel X, bracer. Okay, the bracers is a new thing. There's nothing wrong with that. Now the bracer says may be combined with a helmet or shield. That's not a problem. That means that not just the wizard can use it, anybody can use it. Let's see. Somewhere in the pile here are the cards that I'm looking for. Artifacts, equipment, here we go. Okay, so these are the equipment cards again. Looking for a specific one here. Crossbow, dagger, hand axe. Okay, you might notice something when you're looking through these. May not be worn by the wizard, that's the helmet. May not be used by the wizard, longsword. Plate mail, may not be worn by the wizard. Shield, may not be used by the wizard. Short sword, may not be used by the wizard. Crossbow, may not be used by the wizard. Hand axe. Do you see anything about not being able to be used by the wizard? They didn't say it, so the wizard can use it. That's a mistake. If you look at the European version, because this was originally a European-only weapon, the North American version of 1990 did not have a hand axe as a weapon. So 2 attack dice, and you can throw it, but it's lost when thrown. It definitely said cannot be used by wizard. But when they ported it over, they forgot to put that text. I understand when I've made my own cards, I sometimes create new weapons and I forget to put that little line. So it's like, well, it doesn't say. So now the wizard's got a new weapon. He can throw these tomahawks or whatever they are, and it's a 2 attack die weapon. So I don't know. I guess the wizard's kind of weak, so you can take what advantage you want, I suppose. But I'm sure they didn't intend that. I'm sure they intended that it would just be for the other heroes to use only. The wizard can use the dagger, the staff, and then if he finds the wizard staff, that's his upgrade. That's his 2 attack diagonal weapon. Okay, what's next as far as errors? Just going through the list once again. So the rule book is pretty much the same. There's some vague stuff in there, but they didn't clarify most of the stuff that people were wondering about. Now, I'm not trying to call out differences. I'm trying to call out issues, actual errors. So minor errors. So Lothar was the one who reported the hand axe issue, how the wizard can suddenly use it, and then Hispazargon posted it. The Crypt of Perpetual Darkness, we already covered that one. Okay, let me just make sure that was right. I'm just double checking because there may be some duplicates here. Let's see, page 6. Okay, it says page 6. There's a single chest in the tavern secret room in the map that doesn't have a description. Oh yeah. So spoilers. Crypto Perpetual Darkness, page 7. So there's a chest here, B, but they don't doesn't say anything about the chest. So why would they put a chest there? Doesn't say. And then Hispazargon speculates. I think in this case the chest should be considered empty, or maybe inside it is the reward that you get. So it's ambiguous what Joe actually intended to put there. Let's see, page 10, which is quest 3, Marsh of Sorrows. Chest in the upper room of the map has no dedicated description. Yep, spoilers. So quest 3, Marsh of Sorrows, look at that, another unmarked chest. There's 2 secret doors that lead in, but it's unmarked. So in this case, Hispazargon thinks it should be considered empty. It just seems weird that, I mean, what? It's just reminding you to search for treasure because you're just drawing a card. If there's no description, you're drawing a card. There's no special treasure. So it's, I mean, they had room. You could have put something there. Yeah, kind of anticlimactic. Okay. Because if they do designate a special treasure, then the first person that searches gets it. The other people have to draw cards. Crypt of Perpetual Darkness, page 14. And that is the sunken city of Bub Helixa. Spoilers, quest 5. And it says, a lone chest in one room of the map has no dedicated description on page 15. I think in this case, the chest should be considered empty. That's his editorial assumption. It's kind of a weird thing. Okay, I'm just going to draw your attention to this. So in this room, why is there orange there? That's not a trap. I mean, I guess he's drawing your attention to the fact that that slides aside when you search for secret doors, but it's not a trap. Why would you call it a trap? I don't know. It's kind of weird. They just needed a different icon for it or something, different information. Let's see. The chest, though. Dedicated. Oh, I see what he's saying. Sorry about that. So again, this is quest 5, Crypt of Perpetual Darkness. No description for that treasure chest. So I guess you just draw a card. Again, kind of an anticlimactic. I mean, there's no note that says this chest is empty, so you just draw a card. I guess it works out for the players. But again, you see a treasure chest, you expect, oh, something special is going to be in there. Nope, just an ordinary piece of furniture. Has no effect on anything. Okay, the map shows areas at the fireplace and the alchemist bench colored in orange. Yeah, that was mentioned. Oh yeah, fireplace is orange. The color is only used in the rest of the official maps to identify traps, and in this case they are not. I think they should not have been colored to avoid confusion. Yeah, because in that case, this fireplace is not a trap. It's just another secret thing. Let's see. Yeah, there's a secret passage, but it's not really a trap. I guess in some games, I'm trying to think of Gauntlet, like traps make some objects move, but that's not a convention that HeroQuest uses. So yeah, it may confuse the Zargon player what he's supposed to do. Let's see what other issues we can find here. Again, the community is so great. I love the fact that they've been pouring over this. And unfortunately, if Hasbro and Avalon Hill are only looking at Twitter, they're gonna have to wait for the Twitter people to catch up to us in our research. Not saying that we know everything, but I mean, if you're on Twitter and the Inn, please pass this information to them, to Avalon Hill at Twitter or whatever. Let's see. So we had a little bit of a debate about some stuff. Just skipping down to the next page. It's actually a 4-page thread at this time of discussing these issues. Okay, so here's some more issues. So we're back to the Spirit Queen's Torment. Okay, where did I throw it? the Witch Lord, Crypt of Perpetual Darkness, Prophecy of Telor. Of course, it would be the last one. Last but not least. Okay, Spirit Queen's Torment. So Teos Abadia quest pack. Let's see. Page 12. Spoilers, of course. The Goblin Warrens, quest 4. Okay. The 2 chests marked with the letter C should have been colored in orange since they contain traps. Okay, major spoiler there. C. C. Yeah. Okay, so the treasure chest there and there have traps on them, but they're not colored in orange, so they forgot to do that. It should look just like that one. Okay. So I'm not revealing as many spoilers as Dead Gamer did. That guy is awesome. He showed me everything before I even opened the box. He did a great service to the community. Can't thank him enough. Dead Gamer on YouTube. Check him out. Cool guy. Okay, let's see. Spirit Queen's Torment quest book, page 23. 23. So that's quest 9, the Sage's Exile. Note B. The heroes can find weapons, or can find in the weapons rack a spear. However, the game system equipment cards deck does not include any spear card, so its rules are unknown. Oh, yeah, he's absolutely right. So there's B. Let's see, make sure my camera is right here. Sorry about that. Inform the heroes there are many weapons in this room. Each time they search, they may find an item in this order. Hand axe, a spear, Fortune's longsword. If the heroes find all 3, inform them. If survey search no longer find a treasure in this orc armory. Well, yeah, there's no spear. So just for reference, the spear was a weapon in the European version only. It attacked with 2 combat dice and attacked diagonally, and you could throw it, but it was lost when it was thrown. But yeah, there's no spear in this version. So I guess Zargon would just have to substitute a different weapon or homebrew up a spear on the spot. So that's definitely a mistake. So they must have assumed the spear was going to be used. There's a dragon spear, but giving the heroes that at this time wouldn't make any sense, because that's from the Crypt of Perpetual Darkness. There's a whole different way of getting it. Let's see. Spirit Queen's Torment Quest Book, page 24. Thanks again to Hispazargon for posting these. So the Tower of Earth, quest 10. And he says, the 2 secret doors are colored in orange, but they should not be so since they don't contain traps. Oh, yeah, look at that. Orange. Spoilers, obviously. Page 25. Yeah, why would there be traps? Like you go into the secret door and, it got me. It catches on your cloak or something. You stub your toe on it. And then once again, they make the same mistake. So whoever the poor editor was up late at night putting these in, if it wasn't Teos himself. Yeah, page 29, the Tower of Air, quest 12. Spoilers again. There's an orange thing there and an orange thing there. Makes no sense. That's not how you mark secret doors. So at some point they must have communicated that, oh yeah, secret doors are orange. Oh wait, no, it's only traps. So that's a goof up there. And then Hispazargon, I tend to agree. He's convinced me as far as the empty chest problem goes. If you put down the chest is empty, that would just apply to the first person who searches, just like if it's a special treasure. And then everybody else that searches, because each hero can search each room once, they would draw a treasure card. So it's actually better for the heroes if you just have a completely unmarked chest, because then all 4 of them get to draw cards instead of the first person getting nada, getting nothing, getting screwed over. So even if you disagree with the rules, that's how the rules would have originally played out. Okay, so Prophecy of Telor. So back to Prophecy of Telor. Find where I set it down here. Turn the Witch Lord, Crypt of Perpetual Darkness. Prophecy of Telor. Here we go. Just got all this balanced on my lap here. Okay, Prophecy of Telor. Page 8, there seems to be a wayward arrow pointing down at the bottom of the page. Okay, page 8. Oh, spoilers. Page 9 here. Escape from Mellar's Maze, Quest 2. Look at that. There's just an arrow. Let me make sure I can be seen. I'm just flipping through so many different things. See that arrow? Doesn't really make any sense. Is there a secret door there? So just an errant thing. They probably forgot to just delete it before they published it. Okay. Spirit Queen's Torment. Okay, so we're switching back to this one here, Teosabadia again. I should have organized these myself, but that's okay. It gives me a workout. All right, Quest 8. Missing stone block icons to block shaded corridors. It sounds like we already covered that, but let me just double check. Oh, spoilers. Quest 8, The Flooded Catacombs, page 21. See how the shaded area just kind of ends? There should be a stone block right there, a single block square. It's minor, but it's like, yeah, so that corridor is open. Just put a stone block there and you fixed it. So Zargon can just be doing whatever behind the screen, and the heroes don't necessarily know what he's doing, he or she. They were very careful not to say Zargon is a guy in this one. I'm not sure why that would matter, but you're just playing a character. It's just a game. Let's see. Spirit Queen's Torment, Quest 14. Originally, I thought they'd only have 10 quests for each of these, but there's some of them have 13 or 14. Okay. No door into Final Room C. Oh, yeah. So Quest 14, the Spire of Spirits, major spoilers. See that room? C. There's no door. Let's see. I'm just going to read here because I think there's something about how you can pass through walls in this one. Okay, so in this quest, there is a way that you can pass through walls. You can do it up to 3 times in the quest. And that's not counting if you use Pass Through Rock spell, of course. And, okay, yeah, each hero may become insubstantial 3 times. Each use can be used to ignore any one source of damage to pass through walls or solid objects on a hero's next turn. So apparently through furniture too. They die if they end in a solid square, or to roll an extra 2 combat dice for movement. In this quest, all falling blocks and pits represent ground suddenly becoming solid or insubstantial. They're mechanically unchanged. So I guess what you're meant to do is pass through the wall, so that might not be an error, but that's a heck of a way to end a quest if you have to go in there that way. Well, anyway, so that might not be an error in Quest 14, but there is no door at all. So if they use up their spell and their 3 chances, oh yeah, it's like, how are they going to get in there? Because one hero would have to go in there to complete the quest, because if you can't go in there, you can't complete the quest. Seems a little short-sighted. All right, so we're going to the final page of the errata. I hope the stream hasn't fallen asleep, but if they have, you can always watch us on the replay, post into YouTube shortly after this, now that the stream has settled down. So I guess Hasbro Pulse posted a video on YouTube. I hope this doesn't slow my connection down too much. Just gonna react to it real quick. This is Hero Quest.
Darkness is gathering. A growing army of dread assembled under the banners of a power-hungry conqueror stands poised to destroy the world in a calamity of fire, blood, and death.
Okay.
My lore tome has shown me what the world requires to combat this growing threat.
So it's Mentor talking.
Heroes. Heroes who look to where they are needed, where they can assist the helpless, and there are so many who cry out for their aid.
So many crowd for
the armies of the world cannot stand against this dread. Their hearts will falter their muscles
Just call it
tired.
chaos, but I
The
realize
soldiers of the realm can do little but watch a ceaseless tide of the displaced and wounded pass them by, knowing that soon they will be next. But rising from among them, true heroes answer the call. Heroes do not shrink away from this danger.
So
they go where it is
heroes
thickest,
rise.
confronting horrors that would rend the minds of the weak-willed, ready to face beasts lurking in the shadows with their cunning, their steel, and their dread magic. The world seems ready to drown in dread and shadows, but there is still a small spark of hope. It rests in the hands of those who stand ready to take up arms against the forces of evil. All that it takes for evil to falter, for the machine of wickedness to grind to a halt, is a few good adventurers who are ready to rise to the challenge. Through their strength and their courage, that spark can turn into a roaring flame. The quest is calling. Will you answer?
Oh. Yeah, I was thinking maybe that would be the Frozen Horror advertisement, but nope. It's just saying, come play Hero Quest. That's all they're saying. Which, if it came to retail, it would be nice. Because the people that missed the pledge drive back a year ago can't play the game unless they've tracked down the classic game. Okay, sorry about that digression. Let me drop back into the discussion of the errors. So let me just go back, check the stream here real quick. Sorry, it's been a little chaotic, so to speak. Okay, Spirit Queen's Torment, quests 8 and 9 include monsters that deal damage to mind points, but no description of what happens when you reach zero rules. The closest thing I can think of is a default 0 mind point effect, which would be the shock rules from the Barbarian and Elf quest packs. I mean, I guess we could wait for the Barbarian quest pack to come out for those rules, because in those later quest packs, they made a different rule. If you go down to 0 mind points, you go into shock, meaning you attack and defend with 1 die, and you only move with 1 red die. And they don't say if your mind points go back up from 0 that you get out of shock, but most people assumed that's what it meant. However, that system, if it was used, would make Quest 9 pretty interesting, since only the orcs there do mind point damage while the other monsters are normal. Quest 8 would be a joke because you could only take damage from hazards, searching during treasure searches, and a single spear trap on the map. So it's kind of like, it makes everybody weak, but it doesn't kill them. Then, because I don't think that was a correction that Phoenix made. I mean, I could look at the exact, you know what, I'm just going to pause for a second and look at the exact book just to make sure I'm not going crazy here. Because Phoenix did make some corrections to his copies in a few places, but I don't think that was a correction. So just to make sure that I'm doing this correctly, I'm referring back to the original book. See, it's the original because you can tell the artifacts were cut off the last page. So let's take a look at spoilers again from 1991. Quest 9, the East Gate. Okay. Place Barak, blah, blah, blah. Chaos Warrior. I missed the Chaos Warriors. Tax the mind, do this, blah, blah, blah. Just 0 mind points. He is dead forever. Okay, unless he has an elixir of life. Wow. Okay, so in the original version, he he was definitely dead. So he can't use a healing potion. He can't use something to save himself. Unless he has an elixir of life. So you guess you're going to have to go find the elixir. So good eye there, Mana Knight 14, because he was right. That it was an issue, that it was an ambiguity, it was a problem. Okay. So back to the errata thread on yield in. Yeah, I don't see any new issues mentioned. So as far as I know, those are the only ones that people have found. There may be others. But yeah, a lot of rooms that haven't been filled in with solid rock, dark gray, shadow that is supposed to be there. Missing stone block, a couple of secret doors that are colored orange for no reason, a couple bits of furniture colored orange for no reason, even though they're secret doors, they're not traps. A couple letters that are missing, a couple of unmarked chests that may or may not have been supposed to contain something cool. But other than that, oh, and an arrow that's just out of place. Other than that, all right, Zappa Slave, are you still there? Can you hear me? Anybody in the chat able to hear me there? Sorry, the last stream cut off a little bit there, so I wasn't sure if you heard everything. The last thing we were talking about was just a quick summary of the errors in the 2021 remake, which, you know, it's not that bad, but just a few sloppy mistakes that they should have corrected probably in editing. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. All right, I guess they're just lurking. That's okay. All right, does anybody else have any other questions about this HeroQuest remake game? Because as long as I'm here, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Just got it right in front of me while I've got it out of the box. I'm just going to put everything back. The Barbarian Quest Pack thing, I guess, is really happening, but we'll just have to wait and see what they decide to do with the mercenaries and everything. I hope they make the plastic blue, because blue is cool. Blue and gray rather than red and whatever other colors they want to do. Because we didn't get any blue pieces this time. But back in 1992, we had blue. And they say, well, the app, the HeroQuest Companion app that they made such a big deal about, that's still coming out. And there'll be news about it soon. So I don't have any inside info about that. But that'll let you play the game, I guess, by yourself if you want to, which I think takes the fun out of it, because it's fun to play as Zargon. It's fun to have a human Zargon to play against. But if you don't have anybody to play with, or you just want to sample the game, I suppose it would make sense to have an app so you can play the game virtually, electronically. Now, if there was a multiplayer feature, that'd be cool. But how much will the app cost? You know, or will it be free? Will it let you design your own quests, or will it just let you play the game system, and then the other expansions, will you have to pay for them? Who knows? So I'm just putting away quests there. That's obviously Return of the Witch Lord, because it has the undead figures. Just going to put everything back where it belongs. Feel like Mr. Rogers putting everything away, if anybody remembers him. Fred Rogers, rest in peace. Let's see, Crypt of Perpetual Darkness would go in the Mythic tier box, along with Prophecy of Telor and Spirit's Queen Torment. I'm just kind of putting everything wherever it'll fit. Okay, so that is the... Slide the tray back together. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just balancing all this stuff on my lap here. This goes in the bottom. Killer's Keep. Crypt. Those go inside the Mythic box. Mythic lid. So what I think they should do, if and when they do release the Barbarian Quest Pack and have the mercenaries, they ought to come up with some tokens like I created here. This is just a suggestion here. Games Workshop, Avalon Hill, Games Workshop. Games Workshop is no longer involved. They need to get Games Workshop on board. I meant to say Hasbro and Avalon Hill. So if you have some of these like tokens or whatever, I just made these. you could put a figure on top, and then you could know which hero controls which mercenary. Because what if you hire a bunch of them? They're just a bunch of guys. They all look the same. Whose is who? You know, and if you've got evil mercenaries, yeah, you could put like a Z for those, Z for Zargon. Or you could, I mean, since the figure covers it up, maybe you could write it along the edge there, the name of the hero. So just make it a little coin. I don't know. Because if you can hire mercenaries between missions, that would certainly help, because the Barbarian Quest pack, the difficulty is just absurd. The monsters are super strong. There's lots of traps. There's lots of just stuff that can just annihilate heroes and just totally destroy their love of the game. So it's better if you give them a few more chances, and that would include giving them the mercenaries, but you got to figure out how you're going to do it. Are they going to have bolt-on weapons? Because, you know, you've got the 4 types. If you don't use the bolt-on weapons, you got to have more figures to compensate. You know, you got the crossbowmen, the two-handed swordsmen, you've got the scouts who can search for and disarm traps, which is helpful if the dwarf gets killed, or if you know, there's just too many traps. He's got his hands full. Yeah, I'm just trying not to bend everything up here. Okay. All right, so I've got some things to do. I got some errands to run. Unfortunately, the next couple weekends, sorry about that, the next couple weekends are going to be busy, so I may not be able to stream. You got Thanksgiving coming up. So I hope everybody enjoyed this. I'm sorry for the technical issues. Just for laughs, just roll a couple dice here. These are classic dice. These are custom dice based on the classic dice. These are not the Avalon Hill dice. They should have made them with the rounded corners like that. I missed that. The ones in here are square. They're just completely square, sharp corners. They don't quite have as much roly-poliness to them. And notice how the shiny pips, like, I like the shiny pips. Make them nice shiny gold instead of just white. It's kind of boring. So anyway, but I was pretty impressed with the project overall, because I thought that they really had a lot of opportunities to screw it up and not make it live up to the legacy of HeroQuest and the fandom and everything. And they pretty much left it alone. They pretty much left it as is. So if there's no other questions, I'm going to wrap up the stream here. Thanks again for supporting us here on HeroQuest Fans. Please go over to Ye Olde Inn. Again, it's not sponsored or anything, but go ahead and support the fandom. And go tell Avalon Hill on Twitch that there's some errors in their quests. There's definitely a lot of little typos, mistakes, ambiguities, and they should print up an errata or errata list, you know, list of corrections. And then when they release the retail version, they can fix all that stuff. So, all right, thanks everybody. Have a safe couple of weekends, and we'll see you later. All right, this concludes the stream. Bye-bye.